MMA Plus, here with Dean Amasinger ahead of his return to mixed martial arts at Macto Championships. Dean, thanks for speaking to us. Of course, by now everyone knows you're making your return, big buzz around it. So why is now the time to return?
I think everything's just sort of right in my life. Training's been going well, and I knew I wasn't going to rush anything. And when I did stop, I knew it wasn't forever, and that's why I never officially announced that I'd retired, because I knew I'd be coming back. I just had a few things to straighten out, a business to start, a gym to start, and I've been focusing on that, and I'm enjoying that, and I do still really enjoy it. But training's just been going really well, and like I said, I was helping Nick get ready for his return. I'm coaching him, but also a training partner. And we just have a different level of intensity when we train together, and it's just got me really excited about it. I've started to I had to bring up my game to train with Nick again, and in terms of fitness and sharpness and everything. And I just started to feel really good, starting to get that enjoyment again, that real enjoyment for pushing hard in training. And I thought now's the time when Macto were doing some really good things and talking to the promoters there, and I thought, right, this is the perfect opportunity for me to make my comeback.
Which was going to be my next question. Why Macto? Was it a case of you're training Nick and you saw Nick's on this card and you thought I've been wanting to do this for a while, Nick's on there, so I'll see if I can get on there as well. Is that kind of how it played out?
Well, a little bit of that. To be honest, with me having a pretty large stable of fighters now, but also working with fighters from around the country, I didn't want to be fighting on the same card, preferably, as people that I'm coaching, because I'm always emotionally invested in their fights, and even if you look at other fighters that have done, or even just being on the same card as friends is sometimes difficult, because if they fight before you or after you, your focus is slightly off the task at hand. But with Nick, I knew on the show they're only allowed 2 cornermen, so I wasn't actually going to be cornering him. He's also fighting after me, so it's not like anything was going to happen beforehand. And I thought, yeah, it is good. It would be good to fight on the same card. And also Macto, just like I said, seemed to be doing all the right stuff, saying all the right stuff, and I know it's going to shape up to be a really good show.
I think you're in a really unique and compelling position as a guy who was a decent fighter, had been on the Ultimate Fighter shows like KSW. You then stopped fighting and made even more of a name for yourself as a coach, and then came back to fighting. I can't think of anyone else who's ever done that before. I just think that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I see them as 2 completely separate careers, and one doesn't necessarily influence the other. But without doubt, coaching is where I really see my career, and fighting is just as I love it, and I'm a martial artist, and I want to compete. It's just about competing with myself, challenging myself, and obviously the best way of doing that is fighting. There's no other really way of replicating that. So yeah, in terms of that, I suppose it is maybe a little bit unique, and I'm putting, I suppose, my methods to test it in the fight, but I don't necessarily think they correlate, because some of the best coaches in the world haven't even had a fight. Like Eric Del Fiero is someone that's been a mentor to me from Alliance MMA as a coach, but although he's had striking competition, we never actually had an MMA fight, but I consider him one of the best MMA coaches in the world. So I don't necessarily see the correlation, but I think it's going to be good though.
You're fighting Dan Vinny on June 27th at middleweight. I think you fought lightweight before, so what led you to settle on middleweight for this comeback?
I'm bigger. I've been walking around a lot heavier. I've been focusing on strength and conditioning in this time off, so I've got a bit more muscle mass as well. But also in terms of when I was fighting before, I was fighting at when I fought a welterweight and lightweight, all I was doing was fighting. That was the only thing. I did a little bit of coaching and whatnot, but my primary focus was fighting. So I could train in the morning, come home, eat, sleep, and then do the same thing sort of in the evening. And there was not a lot else to do, so I could rest and whatnot. And if I was fatigued during the day, it wasn't a problem. Whereas now I'm running a business, I've got a gym, I'm coaching, I'm working with other fighters. I've got a kid. Weight cutting to that level wouldn't be possible with my life. I'm just too busy, sort of thing. So plus, I feel really good at the weight. I feel like it's a better weight. And although one of my specialities is in terms of my skill set is nutrition and weight cutting, my attitude to weight cutting has completely changed over this time. I don't necessarily think it's all about massive cuts, although I know how to do that, and I could help people do that if they wanted to do that. It's more about being healthy at your optimum weight, feeling good during camp, because there's a lot to be said about how you feel during the camp rather than feeling drained. And I feel like I'm strong enough at the weight, although I'm not going to be a big middleweight. I'll still be one of the strongest middleweights out there, and so I feel like it's a better weight for me.
As I mentioned, you made a huge name for yourself as a very successful coach. How much has training with these great world-class fighters, how much has that shaped you into the fighter that you're going to be now?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been part of it. Like some of the guys I've been helping, UFC guys, or fighting on other shows, Bellator or whatnot. And when I'm as well as a coach, because I've been keeping healthy and fit, I've also been helping them as a sparring partner. So I know where my level's at. I know where I am, and that's helped me get better as a fighter. But also, the coaching side of things has really surprisingly developed me the most as a fighter, because every single day I'm analysing other fighters, I'm analysing my fighters, I'm watching video, I'm planning sessions. When if I'm teaching an MMA class that day, I have to think, how's that class going to go? I plan the class, but then I'm always looking at the finer details of the technique. So in that, I'm subconsciously just learning. It's something that a fighter probably should be doing to learn, but they don't necessarily apply that time to it. And I've done it almost by accident. I've been focused on the coaching, and I've realised that it's progressively made me a much better fighter, because I've been drilling and getting into the intricacies of techniques, and it's just made me a much more technical fighter.
Have you had any students in particular that have influenced you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know if I'd like to refer to him as a student, but Bradley Scott is someone that I've been coaching and working with, and helping him while he's in the UK, because he does a lot of his work at, over in the US at Fight Lab, and he's been helping me really. He's been helping me loads as a sparring partner. He's watched video on his opponents and on my opponent, sorry, and he's given me some great insights. I'm really grateful for his help there. Nick, obviously, we've been training together, and he's always giving me feedback on our sparring, and he's kind of the antithesis of my skill set. That's why we're such good training partners, because he's like the opposite. But then also Ed Arthur, who is someone that I've been coaching and working with really quite closely, but he has a great understanding of the sport and fighting and the fight game, and he's years ahead. Where I was in his stage of his career, he's years ahead of in terms of his understanding. He's just doing everything right, and he's always looking to evolve. And so he's been a massive help. And like one day when he finishes fighting, he's going to be an exceptional coach, and I think he could go on to do some great things as a coach. So yeah, he's definitely been one of them.
I love Ed's mentality. I could have shed a tear during his last victory.
Yeah,
but you're fighting Dan Vinny. So what do you see in him as an opponent?
Well, he's very experienced. He's fought internationally. I don't think he's going to be too fazed by the size of this event or the fact that he's fighting me. He's fought people of my level or better. But in terms of his skill set, he's got great jiu-jitsu. It looks like he's really comfortable in his back, got really dexterous legs. He's got that real jiu-jitsu mentality if you look at some of the ways he fights. He's got nice technical Thai boxing. I don't know how necessarily powerful he is, but he's got some good technical kickboxing, Thai boxing. And his wrestling is probably his weakest area, which is not great for him because it's my strongest area.
I know it was before when you first stopped fighting. Is this really one step at a time for you, just a personal experience, or are you looking to get back to the UFC someday?
Yeah, I don't really want to think that. When you put that type of, I want to compete to the best of my ability, and then wherever that takes me is where it's going to take me. And I think if you try to focus too much on, I'm going to go there, I'm going to do this and that, that's when the pressure starts to come on. That's when the enjoyment maybe comes out of it. And plus I've also got to be realistic about my commitments elsewhere with other things. So I'm taking it one fight at a time. It might be a case I go and have this fight, I feel like I've scratched the itch, I've fought to my potential, and then that's it. I can't necessarily see it being like that because I've enjoyed this camp so much, and I've felt the best I've felt in absolute years in terms of how happy I am, and I'll just see where it goes, one fight at a time, focus on just being better every single day, performing to my best, competing at my best, and then see where that takes me.
You're going to be on the first ever Macto Championships. Compared to all the shows you've been involved with around the world, Where do you think they stand right now, and where do you think they could stand in a few years when them cards start to tick off?
I think right now it remains to be seen. Because it's its first show, it's difficult to say anything other than that. But everything they've been doing so far has been brilliant. Like the way they're promoting it, the venue is going to be great. The fight card looks really exciting. I'm excited to be a part of it and proud to be a part of it. But from talking to the owners, from talking to the promoters, I think they plan to be a world level, world respected organisation, and I'm glad to be on the first show. And then if I do continue to have more fights, which like I said, we'll see what happens with that, then I would like to be their champion and grow my career as they grow the promotion.
Excellent, thanks a lot, and best of luck for June 27th. This is MMA Plus with Dean Amasinger.